Today we are going through the June 2023 Mathematics Paper 2 exam, starting from question 3. Alright, now we are told that in the diagram the equation of line AF is y is equal to minus x minus 11. B, a point on the x-axis, is the midpoint of the straight line joining A and C. The angles of inclination of AF and AC are alpha and 63.43 degrees respectively. AF cuts the x-axis at E, and D is a point such that DE is parallel to AC. We are asked to calculate the value of T. Now, looking at the problem statement, we are given that the line AF, this line right here, has the equation y is equals to minus x minus 11, and seeing as A is a point on the line AF, we can thus substitute that. 1.1. Substituting that, we may first write y is equals to minus x minus 11, and since T is the y-intercept, T is the y coordinate, minus 1 is the x coordinate, minus 11. This gives us that T is equal to minus 10. 3.12, we are asked to calculate the value of alpha, this angle right here. Okay. Now, we know that in order to find the angle that a straight line makes with the slope, we may use the trigonometric function tan of whatever angle, say let's call it x, is equal to the gradient of whatever we are trying to find. That is equal to the gradient, right? And we know that our angle x is alpha, and the gradient for our line AF right there will then be minus 1, which tells us that the reference angle is equal to tan inverse of minus 1, which is equal to 45 degrees. And now looking for the quadrant that this angle falls in, this angle is in the second quadrant, and in the second quadrant, what do we use to reduce? We use 180 minus. Therefore, our alpha, that's equals to 180 minus 45 degrees, so plus 180k. Although this is not the general solution, this is essentially giving you a glimpse into what we'll most likely be covering later on in this video when it comes to general solutions. Plus 180k such that k is an element of integers. Okay, that tells us that alpha is equal to 135 degrees. I'm gonna write out this part in green because it's not entirely necessary. What is necessary though is for you to find the reference angle, which is 45, and then use the quadrant that you are operating in to figure out then what is your angle. 3.1.3. The gradient of AC to the nearest whole number. Okay, so remember what I just told you about this formula. We use the exact same principle here to say that the tan of the angle at B is equal to the gradient of AC. Okay, and we know that the angle at B is given as 63.43 degrees, which is equals to MAC, which tells you that this is equal to 2, which is rounded to the nearest whole number. Our gradient AC is equal to 2, which is the highest, which is the nearest whole number. We round it off to the nearest whole number. Okay. 3.2, we are asked to determine the equation of C in the form y is equal to mx plus k. Okay, so we know that the gradient for AC is 2, right? Therefore, we know that our equation will have the form y is equal to 2x plus k. Now, you may be wondering, what can we do in this scenario to find k, which will give us the equation of the straight line AC? Okay, what will give us the straight line AC is substituting a point that lies on the line AC. And looking at the point A, it lies on the line AC, right? So because it lies on the line AC, we may thus sub point A minus 1 and minus 10. We know our y value is minus 10. Our x value is minus 1 plus k, which tells us that k is equal to minus 8. Therefore, the equation of our straight line is y is equal to 2x minus 8. Or another option you could use to solve this question, okay, you could use the formula that tells you that y minus y1 is equals to 2 into x minus x1. This is the same formula. This is the formula of a straight line. Some people are a bit more comfortable with working with this formula. So now, moving forward, we may thus sub in y1. We know our y1 is minus 10. 2 into x minus sub in x1, that is minus 1. Thus, we know that y plus 10 is equal to 2x plus 2. Finally, y is equal to 2x minus 8. Okay. And now we move on to question 3.3. We move on to question 3.3. Okay. 3.3.1. We are asked to calculate the coordinates of C. We are asked to calculate the coordinates of C. Okay, so for C, the first thing we know is we know the equation of the line AC. Okay, our equation is y is equals to 2x minus 8. Okay, now taking the x-intercept, because, okay, let me explain first what we're going to do. Okay, So remember, in the problem statement, we are told that the point B, a point on the x-axis, is the midpoint of the straight line joining A and C. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to find first the x-intercept of this line. We're going to find first the x-intercept of this line, because we already know that the y-coordinate of this line is 0. Okay, after that we are going to use either the midpoint formula, or yes, we are going to use the midpoint formula to find the coordinates of C. Okay, so let's go through that to see what's happening. Okay, so in order to find the x-intercept, we sub in y equals to 0, which tells us that 2x is equal to 8 and x is equal to 4, which makes sense because the point B is on the positive side of our x-axis. Okay, now using the midpoint formula would thus tell us that the x midpoint and the y midpoint is given by the C coordinate plus the A coordinate divided by 2, and the YC coordinate and the AY coordinate divided by 2, right? Now what this tells you is that XC plus what is the x coordinate of A? The x coordinate of A is -1. X plus -1 divided by 2 is equal to the midpoint, the x coordinate of the midpoint, which we just found to be equal to 4. Okay, so that's going to be 4, and we finally find that x of C is thus equal to 9. Okay, and YC plus YA is -10 divided by 2 is all equal to 0. Okay, which tells us that YC is equal to 10. Therefore, the coordinates from A to C, okay, from A to B, from A to B, we have that xy becomes x plus 5, y plus 10, okay, and then from B to C, we see that 4 and 0 then give us 4 plus 5, because this from B to C, this is the thingy that we are, this is the point that we are substituting in order to find what our final point will be. Which then gives you y, sorry, this should be just 0 plus 10, which is equal to 9 and 10. So yeah, your final answer will tell you that XC YC is equal to 9 and 10. Wonderful. And now question 3.3.2. We are to calculate the size of F angle ED. F angle ED. This angle right here, we're going to name it theta. Okay, let's name this angle right here theta. So that's 3.3.2. Okay, since we're going to be needing to work with the diagram, I'm going to pull up so that we can be able to work with the diagram. Okay, that's fine. And now we're on 3.3.3. Now for 3.3.3 we are asked, 3.3.2 we are asked to calculate the angle FED. Now the first thing we're going to do is let F angle ED be equals theta. Okay, now we already know that A angle B E, we already know that this angle right here, A angle B E, right, this angle right here, we know that this angle is equal to 63.43 degrees. And why do we know that? Well, we know that because these two lines, the x-axis and these two lines, the x-axis and line AC, the x-axis and line AC create vertically opposite angles where they intersect. Okay, two crossing lines create vertically opposite angles. Now let's write that down to say A, let me use the color I've been using, A angle BE is equal to 63.43 degrees. Now, why is it equal to 63.43 degrees? Because vertically opposite angles are equal. Okay, vertically opposite angles are equal. Now, from here, what else could we deduce? Okay, we may thus deduce that, let's see what we may deduce. We may deduce that E2, we may deduce that the angle subtended by the x-axis and the line DE, okay, this angle right here, let's name this angle E2, let's name this angle E1, okay, where theta is equal to E1 plus E2, okay, which is equal to E1 plus E2 angles, okay. Now, we may then write that the angle at E2 is equal to 63.43 degrees also. Why? Why is that the reason? Because now look at this. Look at the fact that the lines, this line AC is parallel to that line, okay? And there is a common line that is bisecting them, a common straight line that is bisecting them. When two straight lines bisect one common straight line, they create corresponding angles. So that tells you that this angle and that angle are equal. So your reason will be corresponding angles. Why? There should be corresponding angles. Y DE is parallel to AB. Okay, and now finally we are in a position where we may find the value of E1. Okay, when we find the value of E1. Now the value of the angle at E1 is equal to 180 minus alpha. Why is that? It's angles on a straight line. It's angles on a straight line. Because if we look at our diagram, the x-axis is a straight line. EF is a line crossing our straight line, and these two angles right here, E1 and alpha, add up to 180 because it's angles on a straight line. Okay, therefore that means since our alpha is what is alpha? We found alpha to be, okay, let me just find what we found alpha to be. We found alpha to be 135. Therefore, this tells you that the angle at E1 is equals to 45 degrees. And finally, theta is equal to 63.43 plus 45, which is 108.43 degrees. Okay, another way you could have looked at this question is if you looked at A angle BE, right, and compared it with D angle EO. Okay, compared with D angle EO, you would find that D angle EO is equal to 116.57, because why? This angle and this angle add up to 180. Why do they add up to 180? Because they are co-interior angles where DE is parallel to AB. Okay, and that would be the end of that. That would be the end of that. Okay, wonderful. Moving on to question 3.4. Question 3.4 tells us that G is a point such that EAGC, okay, EAGC in that order is a parallelogram. So they are telling us EAG it's EAGC is a parallelogram. Okay, we are told that EAGC is a parallelogram. Since EAGC is a parallelogram in that order, I am going to try and draw this parallelogram, although I have no idea what it's going to look like. Where could the G be? Okay, I'm not really sure where the G would be, because the only way to create a parallelogram in this case would be to put that there and have it called G, and that would not be EAGC, that would be EACG. Okay, let's leave that alone. Let's look at what the question wants. Determine the equation of a circle centered at G and passing through the point B. Okay, write your answer in the form x is equal to that. Okay, so we are already told that it's passing through the point B, so y is equal to 0 at that point. Okay, and okay, now we know that we know that the coordinates of E, right, are given by the x-intercept of the equation of AF, and that is a minus x at E is equals to minus 11. Okay, now because of that, we may then come and write that x at G plus minus 11, which is x at E, okay, divided by 2 is equal to 4, because then this point 4b would be the midpoint between E and G. There is our parallelogram. I finally found it, okay? Because this would then be the midpoint, because remember that AC and EG are equal because the diagonals of a parallelogram are equal, okay? And because they're equal, they share a common midpoint. They share a common midpoint at B, okay? Now, meaning the x-coordinate of B will be the midpoint for the axis of that line between E and G, okay, of the line moving from E to G. So that tells me that the coordinate, the x-coordinate of G is 19, okay? Therefore, meaning now we know that our circle must have the form x minus a squared plus y minus b squared equals to r squared, okay? We already have y, and we just took, we just found g, okay? We just found x. We just substitute that into our a and b, such that we have x minus 19 squared plus y squared is equal to, okay, now we have to figure out the value of the radius, okay? Now, what is the radius? The radius, we may find it by looking at the fact that our circle is centered at, G, okay? We have a circle that is centered at G that is passing through point B. So our circle will be something to the equivalent of this, and meaning the distance, sorry about that, meaning the distance between G and B will then be the radius of our circle. That will be the radius of our circle. Thus, that means r squared would be, what is the x-coordinate of G? It's 19 minus the x-coordinate of B squared, which then gives us x minus 19 squared plus y squared is equal to 225, which is just 15 squared, okay? So to clarify the explanation, okay, let me just clarify. The first thing that we need to do is we need to look at where our parallelogram will be, okay? So clearly our parallelogram will be something like that, where there's a C, okay? Now, by properties of parallelograms, we can already see that E, since the line passing through E, the line from E passing through the center of the Cartesian system and passing through B will also serve as a diagonal for our parallelogram, okay? What that tells you is that the line AC is equal to the line EG. Why? They are the diagonals of a parallelogram and they share a common midpoint. So because of that, we have determined that E and point G are collinear, and because of their collinearity, you have that the y-coordinate for point G is 0, okay? Now, the second point we came to is the fact that the point at B is a common midpoint for AC and EG. Okay, now because it is a common midpoint, it means that the x-coordinate of point B is a midpoint for the line EG. Okay, is a midpoint for the x-coordinates of the line EG. Okay, which is why you have that xg plus negative 11 divided by 2 is equal to 4, where 4 is the x-coordinate of the midpoint, minus 11 is the coordinate that we know, which is the coordinate of E, and 2 simplifies, it shows that we are taking the midpoint. Okay, after doing that, you plug what you find for xg and xy into your equation for the circle, which is given by x minus a squared plus y minus b squared equal to r squared. We then moved on to showing that because points E, B, and G are collinear, we may then determine, and there is a circle centered at G passing through point B. We then determined that the radius of the circle passing through B centered at G will then be given by, what will it be given by? It will be given by the difference of the distance between these 2 points. Okay, it will be given by the difference between OG and OX, and that is the 19 minus 4. Okay, and that is how you solve that question. That is how you solve that question. Be very, 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 very careful, especially when it comes to questions dealing with angles. Sometimes you might be needing to find the reference angle first, as we saw in the case of 3.2.2. So yeah, otherwise that is all from question 3. Moving on to the next question.